Work and learn. Meet Light Meet Max. සක්‍රිය කර ගැනීමට MySLT app එකට log වෙන්න. Work and learn. Meet Light Meet Max. සක්‍රිය කර ගැනීමට MySLT app එකට log වෙන්න.
Life boy ඉතරුම් ලොක්කා. වෙළඳපොලේ අඩුම මිල. රුපියල් 125කට පවුලටම ආරක්ෂාව.
හරිම සුළුයි.
Tonight on First at 9, this Monday, the 16th of January 2023. Commitment to support. India finally confirms support for Sri Lanka's IMF bailout package with debt relief and financing consistent with restoring debt sustainability under the IMF program days before an expected visit by External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar. Improving ties. China's Vice Minister Chen Zhou assures to take further steps to consolidate the strategic cooperative partnership with Sri Lanka.
We should work together to achieve more results in large projects and in our practical economic cooperation, such as the Hambantota Port and Colombo Port City under the framework of BRI.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9 with Anuradhi Wickramasinghe. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
A very good evening and thank you for joining us on First at 9. We have a number of coverages lined up for you tonight, starting off with our top story. India has confirmed its strong support with financing and debt relief for Sri Lanka's prospective IMF Extended Fund Facility Supported Program. India's Ministry of Finance, in a letter to IMF Chief Kristalina Georgieva, affirmed that the debt relief and financing will be provided by the Export-Import Bank of India. Going forward, India assures to continue discussions with the Sri Lankan authorities, IMF and the Paris Club to finalize the specifics of the financing of the debt relief in the coming weeks.
The letter seen by AdaDerana acknowledges Sri Lanka's deep unsustainable debt situation and the Sri Lankan authorities' recent efforts to engage Indian official and commercial creditors toward a solution to restore debt sustainability under the IMF financial support. India thereby confirmed the government's strong support for Sri Lanka's prospective EFF-supported program and commit to supporting Sri Lanka with financing debt relief consistent with restoring Sri Lanka's public debt sustainability under the IMF-supported program and ensuring that the program is fully financed as projected by IMF staff. The Indian government assured the IMF chief that this debt relief financing will be provided by the Export-Import Bank of India. India also expresses commitment to continuing negotiations with the Sri Lankan government along with the Paris Club on a medium to long-term debt treatment through maturity extension and interest rate reduction or any other financial operations that would deliver similar debt relief or financing. The financing debt relief provided by Export-Import Bank of India will be consistent with restoring debt sustainability under the IMF-supported program, the letter assured. India meanwhile stressed to the IMF that Sri Lankan authorities are expected to seek equitable debt treatments from all commercial creditors and other official bilateral creditors as well as adequate financing contributions from the multilateral development banks.
Meanwhile, Indian media reported that the Indian government is expected to extend support to Sri Lanka's economic recovery during the visit of Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to Colombo on Thursday. An Indian government source has told the Hindu newspaper that talks are ongoing between Sri Lanka and India in the field of energy security, food security and currency swap arrangements. Quoting Indian government sources, the Indian newspaper reported that External Affairs Minister Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar's visit to Colombo on Thursday will focus on supporting Sri Lanka in its current economic crisis. It also reported that talks are ongoing in the field of energy security, food security, currency swap arrangements An Indian government source has told The Hindu that India is expected to give a positive response to Sri Lanka's requirements, in keeping with India's support last year as well. In addition, the Indian newspaper reports that talks are expected on 2 possible memorandums of understanding on the Trincomalee development project and the long-pending plan for a cross-strait transmission line that would allow Sri Lanka access to India's plans for an energy grid, along with other countries like Nepal, Bhutan and Bangladesh. The Indian government sources have stressed that while assisting Sri Lanka with its current economic difficulties is a priority, Dr. Jaishankar's visit is his first with the 6-month-old government in Colombo, would see a comprehensive review of bilateral ties. Vice Minister of the International Department of the Communist Party of China, Chen Zhou, says China will take further steps to consolidate the strategic cooperative partnership with Sri Lanka, adding that both countries should gain more results from projects such as Hambantota International Port. Speaking at a media briefing to announce the outcome of the 20th Congress of the Chinese Communist Party, he said that China will enhance engagements with Sri Lankan political parties for a better future.
A media briefing to announce the outcomes of the 20th Congress of the Chinese Communist Party was held in Colombo today under the patronage of Vice Minister of the International Department of the Communist Party of China Central Committee, Chen Shu, who is currently visiting Sri Lanka with a high-level delegation. During the event, the Chinese delegation also donated 1,000 solar generators to Sri Lanka.
The CPC will work hard to serve the building of a new type of international relations based on the building of a new type of party-to-party relations. We will serve to deepen the global partnership of equality, openness and cooperation through improving our global party-to-party partnership. We will work to promote people-to-people connection through the interactions and communication among us political parties and work together to build a community with a shared future for mankind. Going forward, the Communist Party of China will continue to work together with all political parties of Sri Lanka and contribute greater share to build a more beautiful world. Going forward, China is willing to work together with Sri Lanka to further consolidate our strategic cooperative partnership and seek development for a better future. We need to consolidate our good neighborliness and be the development partners that shares common benefits. We should work together to achieve more results in large projects and in our practical economic cooperation, such as the Hambantota Port and Colombo Port City under the framework of BRI. We need to work harder to enhance our coordination and cooperation in many international occasions, such as the United Nations, and further enhance our coordination in international and regional affairs, and jointly safeguard and carry forward international justice and fairness. The Communist parties of China is willing to work together with Sri Lanka's friendly political parties, think tanks, media outlets, and civil society organizations to enhance our exchanges and seek greater benefits for our two peoples, and also contribute our wisdom and strength to the building of China-Sri Lanka community with a shared future.
IMF deal is something very important to us, so I think we can't miss this. The entire world making news against China regarding that you haven't given the assurance for us, but I'm sure that that is not the truth. So as a long-lasting friends, and the way that you have given support inside the Defense Council with the UN, I think in future regarding this essential time, you will support us.
But another very important point, just as my minister mentioned during his briefing, is to explore a new path for developing countries. I think there is also a possibility for Sri Lanka and for Sri Lanka political parties to join us on this part.
At a time when Sri Lanka is coming out of the economic crisis, I believe our two countries can help each other to stabilize our country as well, economically as well as economically.
I think long-term planning must be the secret of success of China. That's another lesson that we have to learn from China. Sri Lanka at this moment is struggling to expand our export market to earn much needed foreign currency. So we invite Your Excellency, China to be our guiding light in this endeavor.
As I always talking to our Sri Lanka friends, your concern is our concern. We are always trying our best to help.
Now, police fired tear gas and water cannons on Inter-University Students' Federation protesters. More news on the protests coming right after this break.
It's hard to keep up with the new when you're listening to the same old Slim Bread Week. A week for professionals.
Welcome back. Now, police fired tear gas and water cannons twice on Inter-University Students' Federation protesters in Colombo this evening. The IUSF was engaged in demonstrations urging government to fulfill several demands, including the immediate release of its Governor Wasantha Mudalige and reducing taxes. The Inter-University Students' Federation protest march commenced near the UN headquarters in Colombo, urging the government to fulfill demands including the release of IUSF Governor Wasantha Mudalige, repealing the Prevention of Terrorism Act and reducing taxes and prices of goods. Several civil organizations also joined the protests. The protesters who were marching towards the Galle Face Green via Galle Road were blocked by police at Kolpeti. However, due to their attempts to press forward despite barricades, police took steps to disperse the protesters by firing water cannons. Later, the protesters reached the area near the Nelumpokuna Theatre in Colombo. Police then fired water cannons and tear gas to disperse the protesters. A tense situation broke out between the police and the protesters while police directing them to the University of Visual and Performing Arts. Now, Minister of Transport Dr. Bandula Gunawardena says that 3,000 new employees will be recruited to the railway service. The minister mentioned that interviews are currently being conducted for the purpose of new recruitment. The Transport Minister pointed out that no new recruitments have been made to the railway service for a long period due to the inability to pay salaries. Minister Gunawardena also emphasized that only 9 train engine drivers have retired so far. He further stated that recruitment will be carried out for train engine drivers as well in the near future. Now, independent parliamentarian and member of Freedom People's Congress, Professor G.L. Pires wants that any official carrying out of illegal orders of the government pertaining to the election by violating constitutional provisions will be held personally accountable. Speaking at a media briefing today, Professor Pires said the Public Administration Secretary, who issued a letter last week to halt the acceptance of election deposits following a cabinet order, should make an apology before the court of law due to the seriousness of this matter.
We would like to emphasize the fact that we will not allow anyone at all to deprive the people of our country of their franchise. There is no legal significance attaching to the order issued by Mr. Neil Bandara Hapuhinna. But we certainly cannot forget about it. We cannot simply dismiss it in cavalier fashion as a clumsy attempt to interfere with the independence of the Elections Commission in our country. It is to be taken very seriously. For a good reason. The Constitution of Sri Lanka has gone to very considerable lengths to guarantee the independence and the integrity of the Elections Commission of Sri Lanka. Once the electoral process has been set in motion, the sole authority that is competent to make decisions and to issue orders about an election is the Election Commission, nobody else at all. If anybody else tries to intervene in this process, that is a very serious offense, and whoever does so is liable to 3 years imprisonment. That is the law of this country. Now, Mr. Hapuhinna is arguing that he took this action in consequence of a direction by the Cabinet of Ministers. The Cabinet of Ministers has no authority whatsoever to order secretaries to ministries to contravene the constitution of this country and to act in a manner that is impinging upon the independence of the Elections Commission. I want to make this point very emphatically, that any official carries out illegal orders of the government, that official is personally responsible. He cannot hide behind an illegal order of the cabinet or any other executive authority and try to exonerate himself from responsibility. He is personally liable. We are also aware that a written request has been made to the Attorney General to institute appropriate proceedings against the Secretary to the Ministry of Home Affairs and Local Government. It is true that Mr. Hapuhinna has tendered an apology. I do not think that is sufficient. It cannot be a private apology. That apology must be made in court, in a court of law. Therefore, our view is that appropriate proceedings must be instituted before the courts of this country, and if the Secretary to the Ministry wishes to apologize and to express unqualified regret, he can do so, but that should happen only in judicial proceedings. We have no desire whatsoever to put an individual in difficulties, but this is a very unsatisfactory precedent. It's a dangerous precedent. And unless it is dealt with severely, with all the firmness that the circumstances require, then it would establish a very unhealthy precedent which will strike at the very foundation of democracy in our country.
Now, a Sri Lanka Freedom Party meeting is currently underway in Colombo to discuss whether they will be contesting the local government election under the symbol of the helicopter. So far, Sri Lanka Freedom Party has decided to contest under the symbol of the helicopter in 18 districts and under the symbol of the hand in 6 districts, including the Polonnaruwa and Anuradhapura districts. In more developments on the local government polls, the Samagi Jana Balawega presented their election deposits for the local government bodies in the districts of Kalutara, Galle, Mathura, Kandy, Kurunegala, Badulla, Puttalam and Anuradhapura. In the meantime, New Sri Lanka Freedom Party, led by independent MP Kumara Welgama, and the 43rd Brigade, led by Partili Champika Ranawaka, formed an alliance today to contest at the upcoming local government election. Welcome back. President Ranil Wickremesinghe's proposal to provide rice to 2 million lower-income families received approval of the Cabinet of Ministers. Thereby, approval has been granted to provide 10 kilograms of rice per month for 2 million low-income families, including some of the beneficiaries, for a period of 2 months. The President's Media Division said in a statement that the government will purchase 61,600 metric tons of paddy to meet the requirement of 40,000 metric tons. The total estimated cost of the program is 8,040 million rupees and is proposed to be implemented by district secretaries and divisional secretaries with the assistance of small and medium-scale paddy mills. And that is all the news we have for you tonight. Join us again tomorrow at the same time for more. Stay tuned for World News Tonight with Suzanne Shanali. Thank you for watching. Have a great night.
For news and information you can trust 24 hours a day, visit AdaDerana.lk.